Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee meeting to order, please, for August 21st. If we could have roll call, please.
Mr. Stockin.
Present.
Mr. Fanton.
Here.
Mrs. Burdick. Here. Mr. Demick.
Here.
Mr. Havey.
Here.
Mr. Healy.
Here.
Mr. Ricky.
Here.
Mrs. Root. And Mr. Harris. 7 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. Need approval for the minutes of August 14th.
Demick will move. Fanton will second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed? And they're carried. I'd like to call on our chairman of the board, Mr. Harris, to lead us through this discussion of NISAC dues.
Thank you, sir. As you know, normally we don't go through the approval process for membership dues. It's budgeted and it's just part of the budget process. But this year, as you've noted in your agendas, NISAC, should say in 25, will be recognizing their 100th anniversary. And as stated in the letter, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event, which makes sense to me. But because of that, they are seeking voluntary additional support from counties to fund their celebratory efforts. So because it's in addition to what we usually budget, you'll see it on the second page, they have recommended levels of support of $10,000, $5,000, $2,500, or there's the other option. So I guess it would be up to, for now, up to the Ways and Means Committee and then to full board to determine whether, if any, or how much, if any, additional support Allegheny County would like to provide to NISAC to help them with their celebration.
Oh, boy.
I'll recommend zero.
That was,
Just for some background, our own town of Scioto asked us for some money a while back for a celebration. We told them no, so we can't give any to our own towns. I don't see giving it to NISAC.
Do you need a motion or anything to discuss it or not?
I would guess, I would lean on legal, but if you're not giving any, I would guess you probably wouldn't. And if you are, help us out, please.
For purposes of having a discussion, I would do at least a motion and second to discuss the.
Well, I'll make a motion just to discuss it.
is there support?
Hayfield, second.
Okay, it's open for further discussion.
What does the chair recommend? What does the chair recommend? Brooke, where are you at?
I guess if it was really up to me, and it's easy to say when it's not your money, which it isn't, there's strong supporters of Allegheny County. I think a menial show of our support to them would be appreciated. I'm sure that whatever celebrations they're planning, there will be some benefit to Allegheny County in terms of outreach. So if I was going to put a number on it, I would do something in the $500 to $1,000 range. With apologies to the town of Scioto.
My question is, when their celebration, is that all going to happen in Albany? I mean, are we even going to see anything?
I would guess a lot of the physical celebration will be in Albany, but I think, I'm sure there'll be lots of social media outreach and marketing and so forth, and there's costs associated with that type of work, so.
Madam Treasurer, can we find $1,000?
Well, I'm sure you can find it if that's what you choose to do, but I think legal was going to ask some questions about whether we could even do a donation of this type to be sure before you made a decision. So I don't know if Allison has that answer.
Unfortunately, I don't have that answer for today's discussion, but I am going to do some research on that topic for you.
Being that we don't know if we legally can donate, I make a motion, we table this.
I'll second. Healy?
Okay, that takes precedent. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's tabled.
Thank you.
We'll have something for unfinished business. The next Everything else left on our agenda is under the guidance of our county administrator, Carissa.
So the first one up is an amendment to our county's Title VI plan. We're required to renew this every 3 years. We just look it over for any updates. The only thing updated was some updated phone numbers and email addresses and other reference points. We just need to have that done for our DOT audits, so it is important that we have that Title VI up to date.
We have a motion.
Pat will move that.
Havel second.
Questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that's carried.
So the next one is coming out of, it's actually out of the referral process from Resource Management. This was a request from Soil and Water. Their current contract is up at the end of this year. They are looking for a new 3-year contract, and I believe they're looking to increase that amount to $200,000 per year. So I put that down, memorialize that in a MOE for you.
Demick will move that.
Ricky, second.
Trying to remember, what was that increase? 20?
They went from 150 to 200.
50 a year. Okay. Other questions? Pardon?
Currently, I'm sorry, 146 to 200?
I know this is, really, it's a contract with Soil and Water, but technically it won't go in the budget until 2025. I mean, my suggestion is that we maybe put it in there, and see where everything else lies for what you guys want to do as far as adopting a budget. It is a significant increase, in that one line item. My understanding is if you approve it today, then it's a guaranteed go for the 2025 budget. So I'm just throwing that out there. You might want to consider that before you see the whole entire budget and where you need to look at the costs that are associated with everything, not just that one line.
Yeah, I agree. I think Soil and Water, they do bring a lot of income into Allegheny County, so I certainly, I would vote for that 200,000.
I would too. Scott brings a tremendous amount of money into this county.
I don't know the last time there's been an increase, but I think it's been quite some time.
I'd have to look it up. My, just off the top of my head recollection is that we did not increase it last time, and that we might not have spent it all during COVID.
Other comments?
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
we do have Scott here, and I don't mean to put him on the spot, but maybe he would be able to let the committee know the reasons, which I'm sure there are and valid, reasons for the increase.
Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. I think the main reason for the increase was to help us expand our staff. The state has a lot of money out there, and we're kind of maxed out at what we can do at this point. So part of that funding was to help us add another person, which we are actively doing at the moment.
I think the other part of that, what Scott's alluding to, is every time they receive money and grants and so on, you have to have administrative costs that goes along with that and justify it by the hours of a worker. If you ain't got enough workers, you got to turn money away.
Yes.
That's a sad way to look at it, but not in reality. But that's a lot of what he's talking about, needing to get another worker. And there's money available, and we're a fool if we look the other way on it.
Other comments? Okay, we have a motion to approve this. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one up is looking for an amendment to a 1977 and 1975 resolution for a new FOIL policy. So I am one that suggests we have a new policy every 25 to 30 years. This one's a little out of date, so I really would appreciate if we could get a new one, and much thanks to our county attorney for working on this so hard.
Vertical move.
Helio, second.
A question, is there any particular thing that's of substantive change?
Yes. Our current policy is so out of date that a lot of our departments are not included in it. For example, the county administrator is not included in your FOIL policy at all. You didn't create that office until 1992. So anything that you've created office-wise since 1977 is not included in our FOIL policy. The other thing is the appeal process right now, as you remember, goes to the Board of Legislators through the chairman. This will make it so the appeal process comes to the county administrator, so I can work with the guidance of the county attorney, and you all don't have to sit and vote on whether or not, how you feel about the direction on appeals for FOIL. It also streamlines it to have email address, that's a standard email address, and a standard way for people to submit their FOIL request.
Not having been on the list, have you been immune from this?
No, I've definitely, I've helped with many FOIL responses over the years.
I thought you might want to remain.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
A comment, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Just that I'm happy to see that there is some mechanism within this policy to charge maybe those people that have chosen to weaponize the FOIL process and maybe discourage some of that. Of course, the county as a whole is in favor of the FOIL process and in favor of people having easy and fast access to public records. But it is important to note that there have been extraordinary costs to the county over the last number of years, administrative costs associated with responding to FOIL requests by one or two ambitious individuals.
Other comments? Things we just have to take case by case. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that's carried.
The next one is a result of our annual review on our transportation system. In meeting with DOT, they recognize that while I do sign off on our asset management plan, they actually call that a TAM plan. Every year, I go through, we inventory the buses, I sign off on a spreadsheet and send it back to the state. They really need something formal saying that that's my responsibility to do, and they need that by the end of the month to complete our annual review process. So this would simply be asking the county attorney to put that in a resolution form for you all to adopt.
Matt will move that.
Vertical second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that's carried.
So the last one on here goes back to the parsonage house and the fact we moved this through Public Works earlier this month to approve the contracts. We have not yet approved how to fund those contracts. We do know we're going to be using some ILS money. We need to make sure that's budgeted for. We also need to add any extra. And so the recommendation was to move forward on the ARPA use. We do need to spend that by the end of the year. This would be a good way to spend that.
Helio, move it.
Demical, second.
It's been moved and supported. Are there questions or comments?
I have a question. We have till when to have that money spent?
You have until the end of the fiscal year, so the end of March, to spend the ILS money. We do need to show ILS that we've budgeted their portion, so we strongly suggest you get the budgeting figured out in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. But the money actually has to be spent, so can we realistically have a contractor in place and have that money spent by that time?
I was told yes.
The 793 is the amount that has to be spent by March of next year. So I believe that when they get started, that money will go fast, and that will be the first pot of money that's gone, is the ARPA money. So I believe that we can have that spent by the end of that March date. And as you know, the ARPA money has to be allocated by December of this year, and that doesn't have to be spent until December of '26. So we have time to fill that out as well. So we should be good, Jan.
And that's due to the state fiscal year.
Correct.
Correct. Thank you.
We're actually over on this, and they've allowed us to roll it through the end of this current state fiscal year.
Other comments?
Yes, I can't get on board with any of this. I think we should send the money back. $800,000 of our money that the state took from us, they gave us back to put into it, and then we're throwing another $600,000 into a 150-year-old house with no parking. We're still gonna have a 150-year-old house when we're done. And it's not a mandatory department. So I just cannot, I'm not gonna spend taxpayers' money. They're gonna know that I won't agree to this. It's nuts, and the best response I heard is, well, if we don't do this, it costs more new. Well, we had a businessman from downtown offer to lease us a building, so we could have leased it for $1,000 a month. So I think that's the way out. Send the money back. The state wants to coddle these criminals, so they'll send it back if we decide we can find something better. Thank you.
Other comments?
Question?
Yes.
So if we do this work on the building and make it where it's up to standards for public use, and indigent legal department goes away, either by our choice or the state does away with it, which is highly unlikely, we can utilize that building for other uses, county uses.
That would seem logical. I don't believe the state's going to make you give back the money if they do away with their own office. If the state were to do away with the Office of Indigent Legal Services, I don't think they'd make you give back the money.
And that's quite a footprint we got down there all the way around.
Part of,
The footprint down there is big all the way, we got some additional land and the parking lot.
oh, yeah,
and-
yes, the footprint of the property down there, we have Board of Elections, we have a parking lot, there's additional space down there. So there is enough space for this office.
Enough space for another parking lot even, right?
I mean, I'd leave that up to Public
DPW.
Works to look at, but I think probably.
Yeah, we got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to support it. We signed on to take this on, so we need to create a place for it to happen, and that looks like that's the place, even though the numbers are out of what I would expect they would have been, but we need to make that available. We've made that commitment, so I'm going to vote for it.
Other comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
If we don't approve this, do we have somewhere else where we could put this office? We're talking about basically maybe 4 people. And it seems to me like an awful lot of money to spend on one office that's not mandated. And I just question, we can't with all this other stuff we're looking at doing, we can't find another location that's not going to cost us. And I know a lot of the money isn't ours, but some of it is.
I'm sure if you really wanted to find space for 4 people, I'm sure we could find other space for 4 people. Would it meet the needs of conflict defender? I think you'd probably have to ask him what his needs are for this space. I just caution that you did approve those contracts in Public Works, and I believe they're going to resolution next meeting, so next week. And I think you are also having an ARPA discussion in the morning next week. And probably, I would just hope if you're not going to move forward, that you don't pass those resolutions next week on those contracts.
Then the location, wasn't that also influenced by the need for other attorneys to meet with clients after hours, which
That
would be very
is-
difficult here?
Correct. We have outside counsel through assigned counsel. These are attorneys that aren't our employees. We pay their rates due to state statute. We have to make sure we have a program where we find these people, they come in, we pay their statutory rates. They do need to meet with their clients. This was the idea, is that we would use this space jointly to allow them to meet with their clients.
Personally, I find things in this that I like very much and things that I don't, but I think that the things I'm in favor of slightly outweigh the others.
Government's difficult, there are a lot of difficult choices.
Other comments?
Mr. Chairman, I ask for a roll call vote when the time comes. Thank you.
Other comments before we vote? Okay, roll call vote.
Give me just 1 second. Mr. Stockin,
Yes.
Mr. Fanton,
Yes.
Mrs. Burdick,
No,
Mr. Demick,
Yes.
Mr. Havy,
Yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mr. Ricky,
No.
we have 5 Ayes.
Is the chairman gonna vote?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Harris.
Yes.
You don't have to vote.
He doesn't have to vote.
I don't think so, not unless,
Mm-mm.
as long as we have the,
Yeah, so you have 5 Ayes, 2 noes, and 1 absent.
the resolution passes.
I think that was all I had on the agenda today.
I think
Thank you.
so. On to unfinished business. New business. Good of the order. Motion to
Chair.
adjourn.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just a reminder, we're headed to 55 Chamberlain this afternoon. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea if we set a time to meet, so we all know when we need to pack our lunch boxes and go. Like, do you want to say meet there at 3:15? Would that work for everybody?
Any idea how long it might take?
I'm sure we're all free to leave whenever we want, but I would think 20 minutes, half an hour at the most.
Anything else for good of the order? Motion to adjourn.
Patton will move it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.